Yeah, now I can see it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, now I can say that you're recording because I see it and I have a red spot next to it
that's wonderful.
showing. Yes. So
Uh,
now I can say that you're recording.
Mashkuri ya Medlin, ahsanti, ahsanti.
Laugh, laugh.
Sorry, a little bit of Arabic there. So thank you now, and for now, all future times, please, anyone who sees
Yes,
that I've forgotten, please do remind
yes.
you did the right thing, Madeline.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you.
That's the
Thank you.
Arabic ahsanti. Or if you were saying it to a man, you say ahsanta. But ahsanti to a lady, you say feminine form, means you have done well. You have done that which is Hassan, like Hassan, the name is beautiful, good, or lovely. Ahsana, to do good. Ahsanti, you have done well. However,
Shukran.
we'd better not turn this into an Arabic lesson. We'll
Sh-
stick to
Shukran.
Sanskrit. Yeah. Yeah. Afwan wa ahlan ya medlin. Um, so what I'm going to do is before sharing the screen, I'm going to read out to you. You're welcome, Dilly. I'm going to read out to you very slowly verses, or chapter 2, verses 10 and 11. I know that certainly within those of us who've been brought up in a Western education will be very keen on having the written text in front of you. It helps as you anchor your mind. You take things, we're used to taking things more in by reading. There are others among us. There will be Sri Namala and Dilli, who will have probably been very used to the oral tradition, the importance of hearing, listening, remembering. Marco, of course, knows this very well indeed with his teaching of chanting, the great importance not just of fixing your mind on the written text, but hearing it, hearing the sounds. Am I right about that, Marco?
Sure, James. Shruta is
Uh,
very important.
Oh, yeah, of course, that's the word shruta, which means heard, that which is heard. By the way, that's the word that in Pali becomes sutta, not with a double T, just sutta with a single T. So many of the Pali suttas with a double T, many of the Pali suttas begin with evam me sutang, literally, thus by me heard, often translated as thus have I heard. In fact, the Buddhist scriptures weren't even written down until about 400 years after the Buddha's death. Anyway, after that brief disquisition, I will now recite as best I can these two verses. Just try to follow. I'll read it deliberately slowly. Try to follow the meaning, and then we'll go to the written text to study. Tam uvacha Rishikesha prahassanniva bharata senayorubhayor madhye vishidantam idam vachaha. Shri Bhagavan uvacha Ashocyanan Vashocastvam Prajnavadascha Bhashase Gatasun Agatasunshcha Nanushocanti Pandita. So I'll share screen now and call it up for you. Okay. So by the way, I've been having a little bit of a problem with the share screen function. Can you now see the shared screen, the text of the... What else can you see? Can you see me at all, or have I disappeared? You can. Can you see some others of you to the side of the screen? You can. Okay. Maybe I've fixed it. So just briefly looking at 210, which we did in detail last time. Uvacha said, tam uvacha, him said to him, Rishikesha said to him, Prahasannava Bharata. Bharata is a vocative here, so it's just interposed. It's a parenthetic. Means
James, can you put the previous verse on the screen?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Barry. So Bharata there is, so to speak, not part of the sentence. It's just interposed. This, O Bharata, is what Hrishikesha said. You very often find that done in poetry all over the place, where somebody is talking to somebody else about some other event, and constantly he will put in his name. This, O Bharata, is what I said. This, O Bharata, is what Hrishikesha said. So Hrishikesha, Prahasaniva, literally as if mocking, as if, gently mocking him. Tamuvacha said to him, Bharata, O Bharata. By the way, remember this iva means like or as if. Distinguish it from eva, that they're entirely different words. So iva, as if, prahasaniva, as if mocking him. And remember that rule that where we have a word ending in a short vowel and n, followed by another vowel, by a rule of sandhi, that n doubles. So with the sandhi vigraha here, taking out the sandhi, prahasan iva, but when you put them together, prahasan niva, with that doubling of the n. And then senayor ubhayor madhye, in the middle of, in between, senayor ubhayor, which is the both armies, or the two armies. Vishidantam idam vacha. So, tam vishidantam, to him despairing. So he was saying to the poor man who was in despair. So vishidantam and tam are both the combined object in the accusative of uvacha. And I think I emphasized last time, verbs of speaking and saying something to somebody take the direct, they take an accusative. You might expect a dative. In fact, it takes the accusative in Sanskrit and Pali. And idam vacha, this speech. The root is vach, from which you get the perfect tense uvacha and the noun vacha, but it's from the same root. The same root from which we get Latin vox, Italian la voce, vocal. You see, it's all that same root. What did he say? So then, Ashocyanan vashocastvam pridnyavadascha bhashase gatasuna gatasuscha nanushocanti panditaha. Ashocyan anvashocastvam. Twam just means you in the singular, thou, tu. The root of this verb, anvashochas, is shuch. And it makes sorry, let me just call up the iPad here. It means ashochan, those who should not be grieved for. I will explain. Just give you iPad. Here we are. So shuch. The original meaning of that, it means grief, and from the same word we get shoka, meaning grief. But the original word, actually, the original meaning was, let me call up Mary Williams for you, was to do with brightness and burning. It's calling up Mary Williams here. So the original meaning was shining or burning. And then it also came to mean purity. Maybe a combination of shining clean and purified by burning. And in fact, the regular adjective meaning clean or pure is shuchi. By extension, it means to suffer pain, and then to lament, to regret, to feel grief. So from this root shuch, then, we get the verbal noun with guna of the root vowel, and we get shoka. Note that it happens very, very frequently that when in the root you get a ch or a j, in the verbal noun formed in this way, you get a k or a g. The example we all know is, for example, yuj and yoga. Yuj, yoga, bhuj, bhoga, shuch, shoka. This g to j and ch to k is a common flip between verbs and nouns in Sanskrit. We have some remnants of it in English. We have but it goes the other way around. We have the verb to speak with a k, but the noun speech. And we have the verb, and the spelling changes, but that's irrelevant for these purposes. We have the verb to break, and the noun breach. And we have we also have some flips with slight meanings, like drink and drench and stink and stench. So this ch flip is actually fairly common. The break, by the way, brush or branch in Sanskrit, it's the same one that became frangere in Latin, from which you get fracture. So fraction, fracture. It's from that same Proto-Indo-European, the vrat root came break. And whenever you're talking about frangipani, breaking bread, it's that same frangere, to break. So back to shuch then. So shoka means grief. And we get the famous emperor, the Buddhist didn't start off Buddhist, of course, the famous emperor Ashoka, which Ashoka in Pali means the griefless, one who is without sorrow. And that's the same word that in Pali is pronounced as Asoka. Now here we are looking at a future passive participle. So the ashochya. So from the root shuch, let me just give you iPad again. From shuch, we also have what's happened here. This is one form of the future passive participle, meaning worthy of something being done or requiring to be done. So if somebody is, and you can make it in 3 or 4 different ways. One way is simply adding a ya to the root, or in this case to the strengthened root. So shochya is literally grievable, somebody who is to be grieved for, somebody who is worthy to be grieved for. And ashocha just negates the meaning of that adjective. Ashocha simply means somebody who should not be grieved for. So what Arjuna is saying, Krishna is saying to Arjuna is you are grieving over people who are not worthy, who should not be grieved for. There's no cause to grieve for them. So ashuchan anvashuchas tuam. So anvashuchas, the shuch or shuch, it's root shuch. You can make a verb out of it, or in fact by many
Can
ways.
we see the iPad, please?
Thank you, thank you. There we are. So anushuch, anu meaning along, in accordance with. So anushuch means to grieve for somebody, to lament or feel grief because of what has happened to them. So anushuch is just to grieve for somebody. This form of the verb, it's the imperfect. So shuch, ashut, he, she, grieved would be ashurchat. It's just the imperfect form of the verb. You have grieved, or you have started to grieve, is ashur, would be ashurchaha. You have grieved. Now, we have here the prefix anu. You have grieved for, you have grieved along with. So what happens? Anu plus ashurcha becomes by sandhi anva, anvashurcha. That's why it's written. And it's followed by twam, so it becomes anvashurchas twam. That's because this visarga changes to a s before a following t. So on its own, anvashurchaha, followed by t, anvashurchas. The inclusion of twam, thou, is not strictly necessary for the meaning here, because the fact that it's a second person singular verb is evident from the form of the verb itself. Anvashurchah could only mean you, singular. But sometimes it's put in for an emphasis, just for stylistic purposes. Sadly, most of the European languages have lost these personal verb endings, but some fortunate and blessed languages like Italian and Spanish as another has retained the personal verb endings. So you know from the form of the verb what it is like in Latin. You know, the verb everyone, amare, amo, amas, amat, amamus, amatis, amant. You see, Italian has retained those, slightly changed, but essentially the same endings. Amo, ami, ama, amiamo, amate, amano. Spanish, you know, the same with a few changes. So it's not necessary in Sanskrit or Latin or Italian to put in the personal pronoun, but it is put in for emphasis when needed. So I know, sai, you know, in Italian, but you know, but I don't know. Tu lo sai, ma io non so. You put the tu and io just to emphasize you're distinguishing one from the other. Here, have I got that right, Marco? Thank you, thank you. So here, the tuam is just stylistic here. It's not put in to indicate, indicate you. It's put in as a stylistic thing. So, anvashurcha, ashurchan. You have grieved after here. You have begun here. Would have the meaning of beginning. You have begun to grieve after those who should not be grieved for. In other words, you're feeling sorry for people, but there's nothing to feel sorry about. You're feeling grief, but there's no need to feel grief for these people. That's where ashurjan and vashurchastvam. But at the same time, pradnyavadascha bhashase. The Sanskrit uses cha here. I would kind of expected to see tu, meaning however, but this cha, okay, normally we know that it means and, but it can also have an oppositional meaning, a contrastive meaning, I should say. Yeah, you are grieving for those who should not be grieved for, but at the same time you are speaking words of wisdom. Remember here, and we've got it twice in this verse actually, where you get a word that ends in a n, just a dental n, and it's followed by a t or a ch. You insert the sibilant. So vadanscha, not vadancha, but vadanscha is just a matter of the phonetics of Sanskrit. It doesn't make any grammatical difference. Pradnya vadanscha bhashase. Pradnya, wisdom. I've explained this multiple times. So it's the jna, the root jna, to know. Pradnya, literally to know through. It's when your knowledge is not just at the surface of something, but you know it through to the other side. And that gives the idea of wisdom. This pradnya is cognate actually with the Greek, for example, prognosis. It's the Greek prognosis that we use in modern medical terms, medical prognosis. Do you use it in Italian as well, Marco, prognosis, in medical terms? Prognostic.
Yeah, but we pronounce it prognosi.
Prognosi. Okay, so in Greek it's either, I forget if it's prognosis or prognosis, but anyway, prognosis is prognosi in Italian. So in Greek it's come to mean knowing in advance. It's the idea of a medical prognosis, when the doctor tells you what's going to happen in the future. Although it's etymologically the same word, it has a different meaning in Sanskrit and Pali, so it means wisdom rather than knowing in advance. So pradnyavada would mean wisdom words of wisdom. That's from our root vad, to say or to speak. There are several words to say or to speak. Vach, vad, bhash. They all mean broadly the same thing. From the root vad, we get the verbal noun which we see here, vada, which means literally just one's speech, what one says. It also, by extended meaning, means a teaching, which is where we get the Theravada, the elder saying. So there's the sayings of the elders, which means the teachings or the doctrine of the elders. So pradnyavadascha bhashase. But yet, translated as but yet here, or even so, you are speaking words of wisdom. This root bhash, to speak.
Is it on your iPad?
Thank you.
Does Tera mean the eldest?
Paula, yes.
Hello.
Tera means, actually, no, it's translated as elders. Tera, actually, I'll explain it to you in a moment. Remind me if I forget it. It means an elder, as in Theravada, that means the doctrine of the elders. I'll explain the word in a moment. Just dealing with this bhashya, meaning to speak. You sometimes also, it appears, what was a cognate root from long ago, long ago even by pioneer times. You have bhash to speak and bha meaning to shine. But this bha, originally, the roots were not differentiated, and bha could mean to speak or to shine. Bha. Think of bha, to speak. It came into Greek as a pe. Meaning to speak. So a prophet, prophetis is one who speaks forth. It came into Latin as f, fa, which we get our English word fame. In other words, everyone's talking, speaking about you. Infamous, that which you should not speak about. To defame somebody, to damage their reputation, to damage the way in which they're spoken about or thought about. Anyway, back to bhash. That's the word meaning speech, and we get a noun.
Maybe also phonema, James, could be possibly also the word phonema, like phonetics, sound.
Do you know that's an interesting point, Marco? Yes, it's probably from an original same root. So the phonos, meaning a sound, is yes very likely to be from that same root, ba in the Greek, or pe, but in modern Greek we pronounce phi. I hadn't thought of that, Marco. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. That's very likely. I'm going to double check this and ask about it and tell you next time when I've found out. Right.
And also, I don't know if about a different way of saying to speak, if it's correct that I in the past I always associated vach with voice, as you said, voce in Italiano, and vad with word in English.
The vada and the word, yes. What are the? Again, I'll check that out with the resources available. Yeah, I'll check those out. Thank you, Marco. Incidentally, another word from I've just remembered, is fabula in Latin, which in English we have fable. That which is spoken, a spoken story, a story. So whenever you hear the word fabulous, you see, remember, that's from that old phoneme traced back to the Vedic ba and bhash. From the root bhash, we get a noun bhasha, which is just the ordinary word meaning a language. You've got the Sanskrit, the bhasha. It's come into Malay, actually, Malayu Bahasa. So the Malay language, Bahasa Melayu, they say is the Malay language. It's an atmanepada verb, an atmanepada reflexive verbs. That's why it's bhasha se, not bhasha si. So ashochanan vashochastvam prajnavadanscha bhasha se gatasun agatasunscha nanushochanti panditaha. Now, gatasun, your gatasu, it means you are dead. And if you are agatasu, it means you are non-dead. The explanation of that is just call it up. I've done. Sorry, just give me a moment. I've lost something on my screen. Oops. Be right with you. Here we are. I've done a note on it in the explanatory glossary. This asu is one word. There are several words, but the asu is one word, not the most common, but one word meaning breath. A much more common word, of course, is prana. But the asu is actually formed from the root as, meaning to be. That's the same as from which comes into Latin as esse, in Italian as essere. French être, Old French estre, but later French être. And it's the same word that turns up in modern English as is, asti, est in Latin, e in Italian, and e in French, and is in English. It's that from that same root, as, to be. The word asu is just that whereby one can be. In that which enables us to be, enables us to live or to exist, is the breath. So that was how this word asu was formed. So it's not a very common word. As far best I recall, I don't recall seeing it in otherwise than in this phrase gatasu and agatasu. But the gata asu by Santi gatasu is gone breath, means one whose breath is gone. Therefore, he's dead. He is without breath. So, this is the accusative plural. So, gatasuhu would be the singular, singular, nominative singular. Gatasum would be the accusative singular. Nominative plural would be gatasabah. But this is the acute nominative, masculine plural accusative, gatasun, the un ending, which is the regular ending. So gatasun, agatasun cha. And by Santi gatasun, agatasun cha. So this second line is a sentence in itself. The pandita, wise people, sensible folk. Na anushurchanti, it's that same verb as here. This anvashurchaha, that's the imperfect, second person singular imperfect, you have grieved for, or you've started to grieve for. This is the present tense, third plural, anushurchanti. So pandita, wise people, na anushurchanti, by Santi na anushurchanti, do not grieve for. Gatasun agatasunshcha, either the dead, either those whose breath has gone, or for those whose breath has not gone. In other words, the pandita do not grieve over either the living or the dead. So are there any queries or comments or amplifications or corrections to what I've said?
I was just
Sorry.
wondering,
Kath.
you have started to grieve. I just wondered where the idea of started to grieve
Okay.
comes from in the verb.
I'll tell you why, but that was okay. Thank you for bringing that up. If we translate it literally in English, you have grieved or you grieved, that suggests something that Arjuna was doing in the past or did do in the past, but is no longer doing.
Yes.
Right. So I'm translating it. Okay, you've started to grieve. I put the started, although you're correct, it's not there in the Sanskrit, but I put it in because it is a verb in the past tense. But it's obvious that he is still grieving at this moment, at the very moment that has been discussed in this verse. So if I translate it as you are grieving, that would that would be kind of correct, but it would miss the point that in Sanskrit the verb is in the past tense, one of the past tenses. If, on the other hand, I translated literally and translated as you grieved or you have grieved, that would suggest in English that that was what you did or were doing in the past, but are no longer doing now.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of put a gloss on it to retain a past tense within the verb, but to indicate that it's something that started before, but is carrying on now.
What about you are still grieving? Would that be an acceptable?
That would be a way of doing it, Barry. Yes, that would be. You are still grieving. But I think that might slightly. Would that slightly mean you're still grieving? I think that if you say you are still grieving, there might be a slight hint if we said that in English. That, okay, it was all right for you to be grieving then, but why are you still doing it? Surely you should have stopped by now, which is what we mean in English when we say, no, why are you still doing it? We kind of indicate it was okay when you did it in the past, but no longer, you've gone on too long. Why are you still going on about that? But here...
Could we perhaps say you have been grieving?
Well, you have been grieving. You have been grieving. Yeah, I say that might just catch it because you have been grieving. It kind of suggests that it could be still carrying on.
But I can see that if you put you grieved, that does mean it's over, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. So
that isn't the sense of it.
It's not the sense. It means you were grieving and you still are, and it's not over yet. But it's obvious, and obviously he's talking about an entire mindset that he has anyway. And he still has a mindset in which he grieves over people. And Krishna is saying, well, nobody should be grieved over, whether living or dead. In fact, the Gatasun and Agatasunscha basically covers everybody who has ever lived. So it covers, he's basically saying, you shouldn't be grieved. People are not worth grieving or shouldn't be grieved over.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, although I think it's going to be difficult to get a very precise translation of Anvashocha, which captures in a brief translation in English which captures it, this has been valuable in that it's shown how I think it has described here the temporal force of the word. And a moment arose when he started to grieve over the people who were going to die in the forthcoming battle, and he's still doing it. Anyway, I think we've all got the picture. So thanks for that, Kath. So and Barry. So was there anything else arising before we?
Could I just ask you about the way you pronounced prajna?
Mm.
It sounded like pradnya.
Okay, right. It is written in the Devanagari script as a ligature of a j. And I'll just do. And here, this is the what I've highlighted. There's highlighted the because the system's highlighted the R as well. Pradnya. You're right. It is a j plus a ny sound. Hmm? But when they are put together, essentially.
Can we see the iPad?
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
So in Sanskrit, it is treated as two sounds run together, j and nya. When you pronounce them together, some people pronounce it as if it's the same way that it's written in Roman script as a jnya, but that's not how it comes out in Sanskrit. What happens is it comes out more like a nya, nya. In modern Hindi, it's pronounced as a gya. So, for example, jnana in Sanskrit becomes gyan, gyan in Hindi. I'll ask you, Shriya Nimala, how would jnana be pronounced in Sinhala?
Jnana.
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 Okay. So that's what happens in Pali, because let's take this word. Okay, we've got the root jna, right? And you can make a verbal noun, jnana, meaning knowledge. Incidentally, I think I said before that the root jna is the same as our English kno. We don't pronounce the K, but we still write it. It's the same root. And it's the same as in prognosis, gnosis in Greek. And gnoscere, cognoscere in Latin. Conoscere. What is it in Italian, Marco? Conoscere.
Conoscere. Conoscere.
Oh, conoscere. Okay. You missed out. You've dropped the G element. Okay. Conoscere. So jnana, to know. And in Pali, by the way, that j sound drops. So in Pali, you just get jnana, which is the same way that Shriya Nimala just pronounced it now. Okay, so this is a j. Now, a j, remember, consists of two sounds. If you say to an English speaker, what's that? J, okay. It's two sounds together. If you say to a French speaker, what is that sound? The French will say je. But if a French person wants to write je, it will be written as a DJ, je. So the French would recognize that it's a combination of two sounds. But we don't, when we're saying j in English, we kind of start the d, then finish with a j. We don't say dj, we say j. Exactly the same as in Italian. And it's the same in Sanskrit. You start to pronounce the j, but you don't finish. You start the nya, not jnya. In Sanskrit, it would be, if you wrote it using the phonetic script, that the sign here, by the way, is a j in International Phonetic Script. So it would be, and I'll use the tilde, would be jnya, but it's clumsy to say. So in fact, that j gets dropped and it comes out as a jnya. Very much like in English, dj becomes j. Just a j sound. So jnana. The j will come back in some cases. For example, I know, janami. So the j is still there, but it's just half pronounced when you put it together as a ñ sound.
So is it necessary to almost hear the D with the jnana? I mean, or not?
Is it necessary to say
To
the
hear
D?
the D, yeah, the jnana.
You do hear it, but there's a subtle difference. There's a subtle difference. If you
Because
are,
often, so because sorry, but often people say jnana, so they kind of forget about the D, and it's kind of a nya.
mm, if you were speaking Sinhala, or if you were speaking Pali, you'd be all right to do that. In Sanskrit, you've got to pronounce the d sound to start with, jnana. Now, there's a slight subtlety here, a slight subtlety, because that's the da in Devanagari, and that is a dental. The tip of the tongue is behind the teeth, da. However, the ja sound, you don't start with the tongue behind the teeth, you start with the tongue a little bit further back. It's called a palatal, j, j, a little bit further. We even do it in, do we do it in English? No, we have the tongue, we don't have a pure dental D in English anyway. But you can just pronounce the with the tongue behind the teeth, the. The French and Italian speakers will do it naturally anyway. Now say j, j. Notice that your tongue moves back a little bit. So that you do a d, j sound, but starting with the tongue a little bit further back. That's where the tongue is for the d, jnana. It's almost like a palatal d, or the first half of a palatal j, jnana. And it's a very subtle point, and it might be difficult to hear. But as I say, it's since the question has been raised, it's worth trying to get it right. Marco, can I call upon your assistance here with you're of course very well versed in Sanskrit chanting and teaching it. How would you pronounce the jnana and prajna?
Prajna, prajna. But I'm not sure. For instance, my teacher at the university,
Yes,
sometimes he pronounces prajna because he wants to stress the fact that different way of different letters at the beginning in Sanskrit had different sounds.
okay,
Even
right.
if nowadays they are all mixed up.
Okay, I follow. I certainly follow. In fact, I'm wondering, would your professor even have said that it was pronounced as a jnya, jnya? He would say, okay. The reason that I tell people, but I won't do it anymore, Marco. You have corrected me there. I have told people as a definitive fact, correct Sanskrit pronunciation is jnya. But would I be right now in saying an alternative correct form is jnya, jnya?
I really don't know. I heard it pronounced in different ways,
Yeah.
and maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me that also Indian-speaking people, Indian languages speaking people, are used to hear it pronounced in different ways according
Exactly.
to
So
different.
yeah. So for example, you'll hear some for example, in Hindi, it's pronounced as if it were written a G-Y, a G. So the Hindi speakers just say Gyan. Marathi speakers say what I think what I've just been saying, the correct Sanskrit pronunciation was Jnan. So that's how it would be pronounced in Marathi. We now know there's Jnan in Sinhala. So you hear a variety of different ways. They all understand each other. They're all clearly, by their various ways of saying it, they're all indicating they're talking about the same phoneme, but it's a phoneme that's pronounced differently in different areas. The reason, I mean, I used to be a Jnya man. The reason I went to Jnya was, I went through a phase of listening to quite a lot of the Vedas being chanted by modern Brahmins. And if you hear the Vedas, it's all over the internet. You can very easily find Vedic chanting on the internet. They will routinely pronounce it. I think I should say even uniformly pronounce it as a Jnya. So if you say Jnya, you certainly are not wrong. We know that's not wrong. But I think then we can probably say it could have been pronounced in Sanskrit as a Jnya, but I'm not sure that anybody in modern India pronounces it like I don't think I've heard that in any modern Indian language. So I think my general observation would be, if you say Jnya, nobody can say you're wrong. If it's Jnya, you might get people saying you're wrong, but equally it could have been right. We just don't know. So to be on the safe side, just stick to Jnya. It's also easier to say than Jnya. It's a bit clumsy, and you can see why it would have been pronounced Jnya in ordinary speech.
Yeah. Can I?
Dilly,
Can
yes,
I
please.
speak? Yes, please. James, seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita is Jnana Vijnana Yoga.
Jnana
So,
Vijnana Yoga, the yoga
yes,
of knowledge and consciousness.
yes.
Mm.
So I'm learning from another teacher, and
Uh-huh.
she said in India, in different states, they say jnana and jnana, and they accept both as correct.
Oh, so some would say jhana, just not pronouncing the element at all.
Yeah, jnana or
Oh,
jnana. Yeah, both
okay.
accepted.
That's very interesting. So now we've got several different accepted ways. Jnana, jhana,
Yeah,
jnana, dhyana, if you're a Hindi speaker. So the
yeah,
answer is look, I can't say this, I'm right and you're wrong. No. Jnana is certainly a very valid pronunciation, because that's how you commonly hear the Brahmins pronouncing it when they're chanting the Vedas. But if other speakers of modern Indian languages will pronounce it in different ways, and that's fine. I
yes,
would not recommend, for example,
yes,
that you pronounce it as jhana. I would say that is like
yeah,
a regional variation, which is fine if
yeah,
you're speaking with other speakers of that region. It's a regional variation, which I would not recommend that you use. Just as we now know,
yeah.
we recognize that they exist. So here we are. So were there any more comments or queries? Then we can have a little recitation. Okay, Dilly, can we start with a recitation from you, please?
Thank you. Sri Bhagavanuvacha Ashocyananvashocchaswam Prajñāvādaṁश्च bhāshase Gatāsūna Gatāsūश्च Nanushocanti Panditaha.
Lovely, very good indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shri Animala, round to you.
Sir, Dilly has sat for the exam and she got 100% for Bhagavad Gita chanting chapter 12, 15 and 16 day before yesterday.
Sorry, 100% for chanting?
Yes, with all.
Yeah.
From who gave you the 100%?
We
You
are
know,
following.
Sorry?
there is Gita Parivar. In India, there is this Gita Parivar.
Oh, the Gita kind of Gita society, yes?
Society,
Uh-huh.
and I was learning from them, and then we had to sit an exam, chapter 12, 15, and 16.
Mm-hmm.
You have to memorize.
Yeah, okay.
And they ask randomly, like 7 slokas from each.
Oh, okay.
So first sloka is compulsory. Then they ask another one. You have to chant it and chant the following one also by memory. So 6 of them, they give only the first word. So I had to memorize 64 verses.
Oh, 60, yeah.
Yeah, she's
Mhm.
so clever.
But
And
anyway,
then,
you finished up with 100%
yes,
in your chant. Well,
because they
congratulations.
gave marks for the pronunciation as well,
Excellent.
and the anuswaras, how you pronounce the anuswaras, and
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Well done indeed. Well done.
Thank you.
Right. So, Shri Nimala, see if you can do as well as Dilli then and get 100% for your
yes, yeah.
recitation.
I haven't sat for the exam. I was waiting to do it. Yeah. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Asochang Anuvastochas Tvam Prajnavadam Subhasase Gatansa Agatatsumas Gatansa Agatasum Gatas
Okay.
Agatasumas
Gatasun Agatasuscha.
Gatasuna Agatasumscha Nanusochanti Pandita.
Okay, pretty good. But remember, if you just chant it using this line down here and make it very slow, Gatasun Agatasuscha.
Gatasun Agatasumscha.
Very good, right. Also, I noticed that in this Anvashochas, you pronounce it anua, as if it's 3 short syllables. No, it's anwa, it's 2 syllables only. It originally was anua, 3 syllables, but by sandhi, the ua becomes wa, so anwa. So it's one heavy syllable, exactly. One heavy syllable followed by one light syllable, Anvashochas. Okay, thank you, Dilly. Marco, we're round to you.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashochan Avashoshanstvam Prajnavadamscha Bhashase Gatasum Agatusumscha Nanusho Panditaha.
Actually, that was very good indeed, as of course we would expect, Marco, but there was something interesting that you did. Exactly the same way as when I've heard Brahmins chanting the Vedas, and you pronounced it in that same way, but there's something else that puzzles me. We have got here, it's this pronunciation of the sh before the ch, right? So this letter on its own, the sh, like this one here, the sh, that letter gets inserted, not pradnyavadancha, but pradnyavadancha, right? That's an inserted. Now, I've been wanting to pronounce it as a sh, the same way that it's written in Sanskrit, but I've heard the Brahmin chanters and you now pronouncing it as if it's a pure s, pradnyavadanscha, not ascha. So I'd be interested. Now, I've puzzled over why didn't they pronounce it as a sh? It comes out as a s. So you have pronounced it exactly the same way as the ancient learned Brahmins that I've heard chanting the Vedas. But it's just an interesting phenomenon to my ear. Have you any explanation for it? I haven't found one yet.
Maybe it's my mistake. It's only difficult sometimes to pronounce the sound correctly when it's flowing through.
It is. But Marco, my point is, I don't think you are making a mistake, because on these in the Brahmin chanting that you can hear on the internet, that particularly attracted my attention, because the Brahmin chanters tend to say Prajnavadascha, not Prajnavadascha. So you're pronouncing it exactly the same way that these very learned people do. So I can't possibly say that it's a mistake. But I was just puzzled why what is in other circumstances a sh becomes a s in that particular place. Maybe it's one of those mysteries of life that will have to remain. If anyone ever tells me, I'll be very happy. Okay.
I really don't know.
Okay. But it's certainly, I'm not saying it's a mistake. It's certainly not. You will have very experienced Sanskritists who do pronounce it in exactly the same way that you did. Maybe it's just one of these legitimate differences, like the difference in the different pronunciation of nya, 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 and so on. Okay, Barry, there you are now, following Dili Srinamala and Marco.
Okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashochananvashochastvam Pradnya Vadamscha Bahashase Gatasu Nagata Sumscha Nanu Shochanti Panditaha.
Okay, that was very good, but there's one thing I just want to pick you up on the pronunciation of this nasal. Can you pronounce again Pradnyavadanscha?
Pradnyavadamscha.
Okay, right. When you first pronounced it, it came out as a bit of an M sound. Of course, that's kind of understandable because we use the letter M with a dot under it to represent the sound here. This is the Anuswara sound. Literally Anuswara literally means the after sound, the following sound. When the Anuswara comes immediately before a nasal, that is a sh, s, sh, sh, it tends to be pronounced just as like a nasal vowel. A bit like the French nasal. You don't say France or France, but the sound. So Prajnavadanscha. Is that how you would pronounce it, Marco? With it just a nasal sound, a nasal vowel?
Yes, I do.
Prajnavadanscha. Okay, good, fine. But you got it correct second time round, Barry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Would you like to say it once more, just to cement the correctness in your memory?
Pradnyavadanscha.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
And we're now round to you, Kath. You're muted, Kath.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Ashochanan Prajnavadanscha Bhashase Gatasunagatasungscha Nanushocanti Panditaha.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much. And finally, Madeline, we're round to you.
Yes. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashosyanan Vashoshastvam Prajnavadam Cha Bhashase Gata Sunagata Sumcha Nanucho Chanti Panditaha.
Okay, can you have another go at this? Prajnavadascha.
Prajnavadam cha.
Vadashcha. Okay, just vadashcha.
Vadam cha.
Okay.
Vadam cha. I'm not
Okay.
able to.
Okay. Okay, it is a little bit tricky, and the reason it's tricky, you have got to pronounce as two distinct sounds, the sibilant, which you can say is a se or a sh, and the ch at the end has got to come out as a distinct ch. So you can say, I think we've established, you can say correctly, vadascha or vadashcha, but you've got to pronounce them both distinctly, ch or ch. So would you like just to say vadashcha?
Vadascha. Vadascha.
Okay, that was very good, but you missed out the one bit that as a French speaker should have been easy for you. That's the nasalized vowel. Vadascha.
Vadancha.
Nearly there.
Vadancha.
Vadascha. Vadascha.
Vadancha.
Nearly. It would be written actually.
Can we see the
Oh,
icon?
sorry, yeah. So I've written that tilde over the R just to reflect that's how it's not done like that in Sanskrit, of course. It's just to reflect the fact it's a vadascha. So it's
Vadascha. Vadascha.
That was very close to it, yes. I mean, it is a little bit tricky, and particularly because in your native French you don't have a ch. In fact, in your native Arabic you don't have a ch either. So there we are. Okay, there we are. Dilly, please, is your hand still raised? Oh, it's down. Okay. So we're almost, just two minutes to go, and I got to leave in pretty much on time today, so we've got to get to. I'm just looking at my. Now, I'm going to be away on the next time we would normally have been doing a Sanskrit would have been on the 19th, but I'm going to be away on retreat for a full 10 days. That's the 14th to the 24th. So what we could do, rather than just miss an entire class, I could do just 1 week from today, if it suits you. So I could do sorry, I'm getting things mixed up. Yes, so Wednesday the 12th, normally would be doing the 19th, but if it suits everyone, rather than not see you for another 4 weeks, I could see you in 1 week, and then it would be a gap of three weeks. So if that's okay with you, then
Yes.
we will.
Nice.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
it's fine. Yeah.
So in that event, I will look forward to seeing you in 1 week from now, and I'll confirm this in the usual updating note.
So, James, just a clarification, and then the next one will be December 3rd.
Sorry, let me just check that. So we would have done the 19th, and then the next one after that. Yes, that is that is correct, Paula. That would be December 3rd.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you in particular, Madeline, for reminding me about
You're
the recording.
welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you all.
Recording,
See you
yeah.
then. See you.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye all.
Bye bye.
Good
Thank
afternoon.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone.
Bye. Bye.